This is a simple guide to rigging an RS Feva dinghy. Firstly, connect the two sections of the mast together so that the track lines up. It's useful to put the top section at the back of the boat. Then you can rig the halyards for it. Make sure that the halyards run down to the bottom of the mast and that the Spinnaker halyard is clear of all lines. It comes out of the deck, make sure it goes through the block at the top and then runs down to the bottom of the mast. If you keep the mast to the different side of the halyard itself, it should keep clear. I take the main halyard out for travelling, and so then run that from the top all the way to the bottom of the mast. I then use the main halyard to tie the other halyards together and also the shrouds. The next step is to hoist the mast. You can lift this around the centre point. First of all, opening up the mast gate so that it's clear to go in. Putting the pin across to the side on the foredeck. And then push the mast into its hold. Walk it forwards and it will slot into place. And then once again you can close the mast gate and drop the pin back through and secure it with the nut underneath. Once you've done this, you can fit the shrouds, making sure that they are clear at the top of the mast from any of the halyards. These have a split pin on them, so you take off the split pin, push it in place and reattach the ring, and then do the same with the other side, again making sure that it is clear at the top of the mast. It's useful to have some spare split rings just in case you drop one. I then take the Spinnaker halyard and tie it to the metal bar at the front of the boat to keep it out of the way and ready for when rigging the spinnaker. Then take the jib out of its bag and on that same metal bar attach the tack of the spinnaker by wrapping it with a clove hitch. There is a small piece of cloth on the jib as well, which you can put a second clove hitch through. You can see how this clove hitch looks when you look at it from the front afterwards. And the two clove hitches side by side. Then unroll the jib and attach the jib halyard, again making sure that it is clear up the mast. The jib halyard has a bobble on it, so you put a fold of the halyard through the eye at the top of the jib and then push the bobble through that eye you've created. Then go round to the other side and hoist the jib, and there is a thimble block on the halyard which acts as your purchase system and goes to the cleat. You can see the thimble block in this photo here, and the cleat with two half hitches securing it here. Next job is to rig the spinnaker. The spinnakers are usually clearly labelled with head, tack and clue. First of all, run one of the sides from the head towards the tack. And then the Spinnaker Halyard, which we tied off at the front of the boat, you can untie and tie to the head with a bowline knot. Then take the tack, and this will connect onto the rope coming out of the bowsprit, again with a bowline knot. You can see this clearly in the photo we take here. Then the Spinnaker retraction system, which comes through the Spinnaker chute, and it's good to keep it tied off to the metal bar when not in use or without the spinnaker attached. This then goes through from the side of the spinnaker, push it through, and then on the other side you will find the attachment point. First of all, put a bobble onto the rope in between the 2 points, and with the bowline that you tie on this attachment point, make it so that you've got about 9 inches of rope off the attachment point. What this does is when you then put the spinnaker back into its chute, it will help it stop catching, and the bobble will stop the knot going through. And so here we hoist a little bit, and on the left hand rope we retract. You can see how it goes smoothly into the hatch. The tape on the sides of the hatch helps with that quite a bit as well. Then the spinnaker sheets are rigged. Make sure one goes between the Spinnaker Halyard and the jib luff, and then both of the sheets go aft. These then go through the blocks, which are located by the shrouds, and the spinnaker sheets can be tied together. Next up is the mainsail. Take it out of its bag, unroll the sail, and then tie it to the halyard. Again, look up the mast to check that the lines are clear, and also make sure you are connecting the top of the sail to the side which does not have the cleat at the top of the mast, as that is what will be used for the hoist to keep it cleated. Again, a bowline knot here. Feed the mainsail into the track, the first part, then come around to the right hand side of the boat and pull the halyard up. If you keep the luff forwards towards the mast when hoisting, you'll find it much easier to hoist. If you have someone with you, if they are feeding the main track into the mast, it will make a big difference. The cleat is at the top of the mast. Make sure it is firmly cleated in there. Then attach the boom by clicking it in place onto the mast. Your kicking strap should have just a quick release shackle which you can connect it to near the foot of the mast, just about deck level. And then the clew of the mainsail is connected to the boom on the outhaul system, which usually just has a hook that goes straight onto the mainsail. And then if you've got a clew strap, it really helps keep the mainsail close to the boom while you're sailing. You can see this clearly in this photo here, with both the outhaul system and the clew strap in place. The Cunningham, there are many systems you can have for the Cunningham, but this is a simple 4-to-1 system, which just has a rope going through the eye on the tack of the mainsail, then going down to a block, and then a second rope going down to the cleat. Then put the rudder on, making sure it goes underneath the bridle. The tiller and the tiller extension go underneath the bridle of the main sheet. It may need a little bit of working to get the rudder properly in place. When the daggerboard goes in, there is a strap which holds it in place, which just has to be moved forward to pull the daggerboard back up. And halyards can be put into a little bag which is just to the right hand side of the mast. And there you have your completely rigged RS Feva. Now go enjoy sailing.